First, I consider it very expedient to consider why intermittent fasting in the first place and how it can affect your health in a good way, just like it has worked for me personally and changed my life for good. Obesity is becoming an increasing problem, heart issues, diabetic and hypertension and many others. So, it's no wonder that so many people are looking for a better way to lose weight. Traditional diets that restrict calories often fail to work for many people. It's difficult to follow this type of diet in the long term. This often leads to yo-yo dieting, an endless cycle of weight loss and gain. Not only does this often result in mental health issues, it can also lead to even more weight gain overall. It comes as no surprise, then, that many people have been searching for a diet that can be maintained long term. Intermittent fasting is one such diet. More of a lifestyle change than an eating plan, it is different from regular diets. Many followers of intermittent fasting find it easy to follow for extended periods. Even better, it helps them to lose weight effectively. However, this type of eating plan also offers benefits beyond weight loss. Many people believe that it can offer other health and wellness benefits too. Some of those benefits are even said to stretch further. Some say it makes them more productive and focused. As a result, they can become more successful in the workplace. There have been recent stories in the media of CEOs who claim their success is all down to intermittent fasting. Also, foods that deplete you of nutrients will make you ill as well. So we want nutrient-dense foods. We want foods that enhance nutrient absorption. It means low carb is one of the factors. Now, the two foods that don't trigger insulin, don't create an insulin response would be fiber and fats. And as far as protein goes, the leaner the protein, the higher the insulin response. In other words, on the insulin index, whey protein and very low-fat lean protein really creates an insulin spike compared to fattier protein. So we really want a higher fat, lower protein ratio in foods, if possible, and then nutrient-dense. Not only do we want vitamins and minerals and trace minerals and essential fatty acids like omega-3 fatty acids, but we also would like phytonutrients because the phytonutrients give us additional health benefits that go way beyond just the regular vitamins and minerals. So the first food on our list is sauerkraut. Okay. Now what makes sauerkraut so good and healthy? Well, in 1 cup of sauerkraut, you have only 6 grams of carbs with 4.1 grams of fiber, giving you a net carb of 1.9 grams. So it's just under 2 grams of carbs for an entire cup. That's incredible. So that definitely fits the definition of low carb, high fiber and high nutrient, because sauerkraut has the highest vitamin C of any food out there. Now let's take a look at some of the liquid that healthy, viable and supportive for your fasting goals. Alright, number 1, water. Is that acceptable? That would be a yes. Now, of course, there's good water and there's bad water. Tap water is just filled with chemicals. So if you need to get a filter, get one and start using it because there are plastics, there are chemicals, there are hormones in the water supply, not to mention the toxic chemicals that they use to kill off germs and things in the city water. So just get a filter that does have filleting effect personally, that pulls out fluoride, because if you're drinking fluoride, it's going to affect your thyroid, and also in the shower, all that fluoride just makes your skin, it can create all sorts of red rashes and all sorts of issues. And you can simply just put a little attachment to your shower head and get rid of that fluoride. I'll put a link down below of a good shower head that filters out the fluoride. So spring water is the best. You can do bottled water. I like carbonated water. For some reason. It just is, I just like it. You could get a machine that pumps in CO2 into water. And it makes your own carbonated water. But in general, water is not going to bump you out of ketosis. But I would recommend drinking a little bit more water when you're doing intermittent fasting. If you have a tendency to get a kidney stone, you want to be consuming at least 2.5 liters of fluid every single day. And that will really protect you. Alright, now what about when we add outside of vinegar? That's a definite yes, because outside of vinegar will greatly help your blood sugars. It's an acid. So it's going to help your digestion. So you're going to just digest better, and even though if you drink it when you're not eating, it's still going to help your digestion. And I'm talking about the microbiome in your intestine. So it'll help that it will also help you absorb minerals. But the main thing it will do for you is help your blood sugars, and it'll help give you energy as well. So I highly recommend doing like a tablespoon in your water a few times a day. It doesn't actually matter when you take it. But just try it and see if you like it. And some people use a straw so it doesn't affect your enamel. That would be a good idea. Alright, what about lemon juice in your water? Absolutely yes, because lemon juice has citrates. And citrates help to inhibit oxalates. So it decreases the risk of getting a kidney stone. And the lemon juice does have vitamin C, but only if it's a fresh lemon. If it's in a lemon concentrate, it's pasteurized. It's not going to have pretty much any vitamin C at all. So the goal is not to drink it for vitamin C. The goal is to drink it to help prevent kidney stones by inhibiting oxalates. And it's also good for other things too. It helps the liver. It helps the gallbladder. And it also has certain vital nutrients that help in other ways. Alright, what about diet sodas? That would be a big no, because the artificial sweeteners, especially like aspartame, affects your microbiome. And that can indirectly affect your insulin levels and create insulin resistance. And that can actually cause you to put on weight. Now, if you're using diet sodas with stevia, that's a whole different story. Totally fine. Monk fruit is another good sweetener, as well as eryth or atoll. Now let's talk coffee. If you're just doing black coffee, it's not going to hurt you at all. So that would be a yes on the list. The only point I'm going to bring up is caffeine. If you're drinking a lot of coffee through the day, you're going to be consuming a lot of caffeine. And that can inhibit your sleep cycles, which will then increase cortisol. And that will slow down your weight loss. So I would recommend only doing 1 cup in the morning, if possible. That's what I do. And my cup is actually pretty small. Of course, the coffee is strong, but it's a very small cup. I would definitely spend a little bit more money and get organic, because out of all the things that are sprayed with pesticides, coffee beans are at the top of the list. Alright, then we get into this bulletproof thing. What is this bulletproof coffee? Well, they're adding butter or MCT oil to the coffee. And this brings up the point, which I talked about in the beginning, where it's not going to bump you out of ketosis. It's going to bump you out of losing weight if you have a slow metabolism. But I do recommend bulletproof coffee in the very beginning while you start this program, because it's going to allow you to do longer fasting. And it has other benefits for your cognitive ability, because MCT oil and even butter will help you generate ketones for your brain. And it's going to help you with memory and focus and concentration. But as you get going and you're really starting to lose weight, and let's say, for example, you have a slow metabolism, and things aren't happening, that would be one thing to go, because I just recently had someone that was trying to lose weight and they were doing 1 meal a day. But I noticed that they're doing this bulletproof coffee. So we recommended getting rid of that in the coffee and just do coffee, maybe just with a little bit of half and half for cream. And boom, they started losing weight. So it is a point to put attention on if you're struggling with weight loss. Now, if you're thin and you want some extra benefits with your cognitive function, definitely do bulletproof coffee. Alright, now what about half and half versus cream? Now half and half is half milk and half cream. And then you have whole cream or whipping cream. Now half and half is maybe 1.6 grams of carbs. Okay, so I mean, it's pretty small, but it has some in 2 tablespoons, whereas whole cream has 0 carbs. So I would always recommend doing the whole cream in your coffee versus half and half. But it's a real minor point. So I'm going to put it under the maybe category. But that being said, we're talking about such small amounts. And I rotate, sometimes you just half and half. Sometimes I use whole cream. Alright, then we get to bone broth. Bone broth does have protein in it. It has like 5 grams per cup. And that is something you don't want to add when you're fasting. So bone broth is under the no category. It's not a good idea. So it's definitely going to inhibit your results with fasting. And I just want to back up for a second, because I forgot to talk about non-dairy creamers. Wow, those things are filled with chemicals. I would avoid those at all costs. Alright, the next one is tea. Now green tea is very good to consume when you're doing fasting. There are certain phytonutrients in tea, even if you heat the tea, that will help your metabolism, that will speed things up, that have antioxidant properties, that have other phytonutrients that fight cancer, that have phytonutrients that support blood sugars, and the list goes on and on and on. I highly recommend consuming some type of herbal tea. Green tea is one of them. There's many others on a keto plan. But just one point about that is that these teas sometimes have caffeine, so take that in consideration, because that can start affecting your sleep, especially if you're sensitive. Alright, next thing is coconut water. Well, coconut water has between 11 grams to, I think 16 grams of sugar. So you definitely want to avoid coconut water. Some people drink it for hydration, thinking it's a great electrolyte drink, but it comes with a package. It comes with a lot of sugar. And anytime you eat sugar, and when you're fasting, you nullify your results for a good amount of time. Now, coconut milk also has some carbs, but it really depends on the type of coconut milk. The coconut milk from brand name Silk, that actually has 1 gram of carbs. So that may be okay. So coconut water is a no, coconut milk could be a maybe. Alright, next one, pre-workout powders that you put in your drink, like branched chain amino acids. Not good at all. We're talking about a protein. And this protein is not a complete protein. It's just amino acids, and you don't want to do that when you're fasting. Okay, I don't recommend branch chain amino acids. That will definitely bump you out of ketosis. It'll bump you out of fat burning, and it'll definitely bump you out of autophagy. And so even when you're working out, by consuming these amino acids or any type of pre-workout drink, either before or after your workout is not a good thing, unless it's just plain electrolytes with no sugar. Now, if you combine this low-carb diet with fasting and exercise, you're going to take your ketones to a whole new level. You'll definitely get in much deeper ketosis. And that would be a great goal. Now, what about alcohol? Okay. You probably heard of types of alcohol that are so-called keto-friendly. They have no carbs in them. Here's the problem. It's true that there's certain alcohol, unlike margaritas or a beer, that have carbs or sugar that doesn't have any added sugar. But the alcohol itself really toxifies your liver, which is going to affect your fasting results and your ability to lose weight. And your autophagy. It's not a good idea in any amounts. I'm sorry. Now, what about actual milk? Is that keto friendly? That would be a big fat no, because milk 1 cup has 12 grams of carbs. And 0 fiber, which means we're talking about net carbs, which is way too high. But the fat from the milk in the form of butter, as well as the half and half and cream is a lot better. Alright. What about electrolytes? Well, absolutely. Yes, if it doesn't have any added sugar. If it's sweetened with stevia or monk fruit, totally fine. But realize that sometimes stevia comes with maltodextrin. So you want to make sure it doesn't have maltodextrin or some other type of synthetic sugar. But electrolytes are essential when you're doing fasting. So is other nutrients, like B vitamins and vitamin D and omega-3 fatty acids, because the last thing you want to have happen is run out of these nutrients when you're fasting and get dizzy or faint or feel weak. So the best video that you want to watch on that is right here on what supplements to take while you're fasting. I suggest you go to my special supplement website boostmaxi.com. I recommend that everyone take what I call the triple bullet for wellness supplements, which includes daily multivitamin, daily powered men or powered women for women. Secondly, probiotic, which is powered gut on Boost Maxi. We have double the CFU than what you will find in other supplement. Finally, Oil My Life, which is good for your brain and heart health.